Welcome, it's John S's Sports Channel here today, and it's going to be something slightly different. We're going to go through League One, but we're going to go through League One last week, and we're going to go through a little bit more detail because I thought that last week's results were quite amazing. I thought there was some really interesting different results in there. So we're going to go and we're going to start straight away. So I know you lot like to go straight into these things. Otherwise, you click off them. So we're going to start with the Mansfield-Cambridge game. And everybody's saying, oh, yes, it's going to be 2-1, 3-1 to Mansfield. And indeed, I chose 3-1, but it was actually 2-1. And, of course, Lee Gregory started the game with a 39th minute opener and then finished it with a 68th minute winner. My team to watch, of course, I would say something like that. In the end, it was the stats were 50-50, so it was a little bit more even than what I thought. And I do remember thinking, well, Cambridge are actually playing not too bad, and they just seem to be getting on the wrong side of the results. I mean, they had most shots in the game, and realistically, it was 6 shots to 5 on target in the Mansfield's favour. So it was actually an awful lot more even than what we think, and I think it goes to show that Cambridge are actually not a bad side, and that actually a lot of people are just looking at the table and thinking, oh yeah, Cambridge 24th, aren't they awful? And actually, in that game, they played really well, and they actually showed a very good side, very consistent side, I think. And I've been watching them, and I've been thinking they're not actually bad. And I like Cambridge, and I like Mansfield. It was sad to see one of them having to lose, but 2-1. I said 3-1. Yeah, it went the same way as I thought, but you know it. I did think that Cambridge could be one of those sides just to be able to put something on the table that is just completely different. Northampton versus Wycombe. Now, I mean, loads of people not being able to split these two. I mean, in the end, it was actually it was won by Wycombe, which is possibly the if you hadn't been seeing Northampton playing and thinking, well, actually, they're not doing that bad. They're not doing as bad as what we thought. You know, they're in 18th, but had they actually won that one, they could have been, you know, in 8th, 9th position. So, you know, they're not playing as bad as what they people thought they would be. And Wycombe are playing a little bit, yeah, they're not being playing as well as what people thought they might do. And I think the two sort of met in the middle, and most people are saying 0-0, 1-1, and I said 0-0 with everybody else, and it was a 2-1 win to Wycombe. They did actually play quite a lot better. I mean, the game itself, yeah, certainly the one there was only one team in it as far as shots were concerned, and that was going to be Wycombe, and certainly I think that the right side won, although you have to think that total number of shots 6 for Northampton, 3 on target, 14 shots for Wycombe, and 4 on target means that Northampton actually did a hell of a lot better conversion rate of goals on target to shots on at target. So I was quite impressed by the number of shots taken and the number of shots on target by Northampton, and perhaps that's going to be something to watch in the future, and probably the reason why they're not doing as badly as what people are thinking. You know, the Blackpool Exeter next, and loads of people saying, well, if somebody wins it, it's going to be Blackpool. But I can't. But you know, the one or two saying, yeah, but Exeter started so bloody well. I mean, they really did. And a couple of people just saying, perhaps it'll be a draw because Exeter are actually playing. You know, they have played really well. I don't think Exeter did play well. I put a 2-1 win to Blackpool, and it was a 2-1 win to Blackpool, yes. Thanks to a 90 plus 4 minute goal by James Husband, of course, but after Exeter had equalised in 88 minutes. See, they never they don't lower their now that they've got their manager in it. It's like they don't want to lose faith, even though they sort of got equalised against in the 88th minute. They didn't drop the head and they carried on and they got the winner, And that's the sort of thing that Rotherham used to do, and they don't do that anymore. And I'm really happy for the Blackpool fans. They've got somebody who's pushing them in a way that means that they don't give up. Bolton versus Huddersfield next, because that was really, I think that was the story of the game. Really, Blackpool were always going to win with the stats there. So Bolton Huddersfield now. A load of people most people saying a draw, and I went against everybody and said Huddersfield, and I said 2-0. I changed it because I can see on my notes in front of me I actually had 4-0 in there, and I changed it to 2-0, and I wish I stayed at 4-0 because it was actually Bolton 0, Huddersfield 4. Now what's going to happen to the manager there, because Bolton are not playing, they're not playing well. They're not getting results, but they're also not playing well. And I mean, they had the most they had 52% possession, 5 shots, 1 on target. Yet, Huddersfield, typical of Huddersfield, they usually get a lot less possession and more shots. 48% possession, 16 shots, 5 on target, 4 goals. I mean, that's a cracking conversion rate of goals at shots on target to goals, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. And I have to apologise for the cough. It's when I had a meningitis when I was 40. So I think that the Bolton Huddersfield game was always going to be that way. And when you started seeing the number of blank passes by Bolton sideways and backwards, you think there was always going to be one winner, and that was going to be Huddersfield. And I nearly got that 4-0 correct. I changed it at the last minute. I scrubbed it out and put 2. Bristol Rovers versus Wigan, and a lot of people fancying Bristol Rovers here, and I was like, I don't know. I think Wigan are going to do it because Wigan are a good side. They're an ex-championship side. They're trying to keep a championship style football, and I do like it, and it's been working. And okay, they might be at the minute they're together on 14th and 15th with Wigan in 15th. So people were just looking, I think, at the league and thinking, now Bristol Rovers will do this because they've been playing really well. Though they haven't been playing well, they've been getting some really lucky results and some really good results against teams that have been playing awful, like Rotherham. And you have to think that all these people say 2-1 and 1-0 to Bristol Rovers, and I said no, it's going to be 1-0 to Wigan. And it was 4-0 to Wigan. Now, obviously I didn't think it was going to be that sort of a walkover. And again, Wigan are one of those teams that they don't care about possession. They just care about, if they've got it, get it into the other end, welly it forward, get it into the back of the net. Now, Wigan had 48% possession, but they had 23 shots, 8 on target, 4 goals. That's a great conversion rate there. Two conversion rates. 1 shots on target from shots in total. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. That 3 to 1. And then shots on target to goals. Wow, 50% went in the net. Brilliant. Whereas Bristol Rovers, they're not ones for. They like to keep this. Just try and make sure that you don't get a goal. Well, it didn't work here, did it? Or at least that's what their manager likes doing, Taylor. 11 shots, 2 on target. you're not going to win something like that. You really aren't, Taylor. So I said 1-0. It was 4-0. I think I thought at home they wouldn't be quite so easy to just collapse. I was wrong, but I got it the right way round. Crawley, who were in 12th against Stockport in second. Everybody's saying Stockport here. Every man and his dog was saying Stockport. I said Stockport. I said 2-1. And I had to put a 1 for Crawley because I'm thinking they started so well. And they seem to just lose faith in their own ability recently. And I'm thinking, I think they're going to. I think they'll get a goal, but Stockport are so invincible at the minute. I couldn't see them. Losing it, and it was 1-1, and I think that caught a lot of people out. That one, Crawley Stockport 1-1, with a Junior Quinterna penalty on 68 minutes to equalise for Crawley. And I think you only have to look at the possession figures. 63% possession to Crawley. Who would have thought that? I mean, you go back last year when they were both in League Two. I bet most of you are thinking, who the hell did they get that one from? And shots on target. Shots, 10 shots for Crawley, 3 on target, 11 for Stockport, 4 on target. The number of passes, nearly double the amount of passes during the game for Crawley. If anybody was going to win this game, if you actually look at it on the replays, I think the only team that was going to win this at the end of the day, if it had gone on a few more minutes, 10, 15 minutes more, I think Crawley would have won it. I really do. I think Crawley were bound to win it if they'd have played long enough. So well done, Crawley. You did a damn good job there to put kibosh on everybody's thoughts on what the scores was going to be for the Crawley Stockport game. Peterborough Lincoln. This is another one of those really difficult ones because Peterborough were obviously seen as the big boys of the top six. In the same, not in the same phrase as Birmingham, obviously, but they're certainly seen in the same phrase as Huddersfield and Bolton, and certainly perhaps as Blackpool. They're seen a lot higher than Rotherham, but they're certainly in that top echelon. And Lincoln finished so well last season that you can't start writing them off. And indeed, if you look at the table now, Lincoln are still in 6th, and Lincoln were it was Peterborough in 11th against Lincoln in 6th. And most people think Peterborough are going to get something here. Peterborough are going to get something, and I had to agree with them, go 3-2, and I really thought there were going to be goals in this because Lincoln have been getting goals, Peterborough have been getting goals, and I'm thinking, is it going to be a battle of the defence? Yeah, maybe. I just thought that it was going to be a battle of attack, and it was going to be high scoring, like most people did. Most of you lot thought it was going to be high scoring, who were responding to me. So 3-1s, 3-2s, 3-3, occasionally a 3-3. I went with Peterborough 3, Lincoln 2, and it was 1-1. An equaliser by Poku for Peterborough on 65 minutes. You look at the stats. What were the stats saying? 71% possession to Peterborough. Ouch! But everything else spot on. Number of shots, 9 each. Number of shots on target, 5 each. So Lincoln with just 29% possession got exactly the same stats as Peterborough. So actually, I think their total performance has to be thought as being slightly better. Thanks to the clock. Right, we go on to Reading Orient, and Reading Orient is, I think most people were thinking that Reading would walk this one, really would. I You only have to look at the positions. Reading in 8th and Orient in 24th, and you're thinking, they haven't got a hope, have they? The nearest score I got was, I saw some people saying 2-1 to Reading, thinking that Orient are scoring. They'll definitely score. And they're right. They did score. If it was Reading 0, Orient 1, and who would have guessed that? Reading had most of the 55% possession, but actually with 45% possession, Orient managed to get 13 shots in relation to Reading's 11. 3 shots, one in the net, and Reading 4 shots, none in the net. So although I think Reading did play better, I think on the day it was just one of those things where it just wasn't going to, the roll of the green just wasn't going to be for Reading. I think on a different day they could very well have made it a 2 or 3-0. However, my estimate of 3-0 was completely the wrong way around, and it was Reading 0, Orient 1. So that's another one that scuppered people. Now my side, Rotherham versus Burton, no win yet for Burton, and people were all saying Rotherham were going to win this one. I decided to go for the last time. I was going to go with people and say Rotherham 3, Burton 0, and we nearly won it. But our defence is absolutely shocking, and we've only just started scoring goals. So it was no surprise really to see it a 2-2 draw. The stats are, Burton had most of the possession. They had 52%, but I think at some point it was like Rotherham 40% and Burton's 60%. And they're away from home, remember. We had 20 shots, which is not unusual, but only 6 on target and 2 goals. Burton actually did better on the conversion rate. They had 8 shots, 4 on target, 2 goals, and that's actually a bloody cracking conversion rate there for Burton. And Burton now, Burton were look now, 19th, we were 15th. Now we've gone from 15th to 17th, and Burton have gone from 19th to 20th. So yeah, it's not done either of the teams any good. That really hasn't. And I think there's only one way for Rotherham to go after that, and that's, well, actually not the way you're thinking. I think it's we've still got some place to drop yet. Shrewsbury versus Charlton, and this is one that this was always going to be a little difficult. I think Shrewsbury have been putting in some good performances, and the stats that we've seen have shown that they have got some cracking performances that they've not got results from. And I was seeing 1-0 to Charlton, 2-0 to Charlton. Remember, Charlton are in 5th and Shrewsbury in 21st. I went with 2-0 to Charlton, and it was 1-0 to Charlton. But look at the figures. Shrewsbury 55% possession, 15 shots, but only 3 on target, and no goals. If you'd got a few more on target, who knows what the score could have been? Because Charlton only had 45% possession, 8 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal. It's not a brilliant conversion rate from total shots, but I tell you what, it's that 15 shots is akin to what Rotherham's doing, but not putting it in the net. So Shrewsbury are not actually the pushover that people are thinking, and perhaps that's what we have to think about going forward. Because although Charlton are now in 3rd, you see that Shrewsbury are now in 23rd. With just 1 win, and you have to feel sorry for them because they're actually playing quite well, and they're just not getting it. They're not getting them on target. loads of shots, just not on target, and they just need to stop and think about getting it on target. And Warren did this a couple of years ago with Rotherham, and it worked a brilliant treat. Rotherham was shooting like mad at the net in the Championship, not getting anything, and all of a sudden he said, "Stop it, and just before you hit it, target where you want it to go." And we were seeing slower shots and second hits, so that they tap it and then hit it. And this is also that because they've been told to place it rather than fire it hard. And I tell you what, it worked brilliantly, and that's when Warren left. We've shot up to about 5th in the Championship table, and then he went to Derby. But his idea of placing it instead of shooting it worked a treat, and that's what they should be doing, because with figures like that held, they could be easily mid-table. Stevenage versus Barnsley. Now this was a ding dong of a battle, wasn't it? I was watching this on our watch along with a Barnsley fan, and if you're watching, I enjoy your chat, I really do. Stevenage Barnsley, and a lot of people saying 2-2. Most people saying 2-1 to Barnsley, and I had to agree with 2-1 to Barnsley, and it was Stevenage 3, Barnsley 0. Ouch. Just didn't go the way we thought it would. Nobody would have thought that. Barnsley in 3rd, the home team Stevenage in 17th. The best I saw from you lot was 2-2. Everyone else saying 2-1 to Barnsley. So I agreed with everybody else, went 2-1 to Barnsley. Absolutely nowhere near. 3-0 to Stevenage with a brace from Elliot List and Pergini on 59. So, yeah, I mean, Barnsley had 59% possession. 13 shots to Stevenage, 9 to Barnsley, and 4 shots each on target. But Stevenage put 3 of them in the net, and Barnsley put 0 in the net. Just wasn't going to be their day. It's another one of those games where you say, like the Reading one, if you'd have played it again several times, you probably wouldn't get that result that way, that direction ever again. And then we get the Birmingham versus Wrexham. I mean, this was a hell of a game to try and... people were trying to get this one right, and there were loads of people thinking, we can't possibly do this. We've got two managers that are pumping money in like mad and trying to make sure that they get up into Championship. I went with the 2-2, which is akin to what most people were saying, a draw. They couldn't split these two. However, 10-man Birmingham, Bellick off in 86 minutes. You have to think they're way too good for this league, aren't they? And they just walked this one, I think. And I think it shows in the stats. I mean, Birmingham's 68% possession, Wrexham 33, 32 and a bit. Shots on target, shots for Birmingham 8, 6 of them on target, 3 goals. Ouch. Great conversion rate there, Birmingham fans. Absolutely brilliant conversion rate. You ain't gonna stay in League One with that. Why are Birmingham going to do the other video, shall we, right now? Why are Birmingham going to win the league? 8 shots, 6 on target, 1 goal. Right, okay, 1 off target, only 1. Jesus. And the other one got blocked. Yeah, great. So and Wrexham 5 shots, 3 on target, 1 goal. That's actually not a bad conversion rate. They just aren't shooting quite as well against such a brilliant defence. So yeah, and twice it's more than twice as many passes for Birmingham. So they're actually passing it, keeping it, using the ball. They're not just passing it between each other and not doing anything with it. they're passing it, using it, and getting it up front. Just enough times to be better than the opposition. Yeah, wait for my video tomorrow on the Rotherham Birmingham result, because I think I'm going to upset some Rotherham fans. Yeah, that was my results from last week. I don't think I did too badly, but I got a couple right there, just spot on, didn't I? But yeah, we'll be doing these again, because I think it's from now on. Now that we've got 6 or 7 games under his belt, we can start to see how teams are beginning to fluctuate and change, because it tends to, and I've seen it usually go in a 6-game cycle. So we can carry on with this now, and we can see a week afterwards, probably on a Friday, a Thursday or a Friday, look back, and we'll just have a quick check and see what went right and what went wrong, and why. And I think it'll be absolutely brilliant for people to sort of to look at their team and think, he's right, or I think he's absolute garbage. Put a comment down if you think I'm right. Put a comment in there if you think I'm wrong, and say why, because I am actually really interested. Also, give me your scores for next week, for Saturday, and the Saturday after if you want. So, because I do look at them, and I do keep a note of them here on my little file to make sure I've got everybody's names and forecasts in there. And it's John S's Sports Channel, over and out for another League One video. Thank you very much.